Okay, the next team. Team number 6 that makes it here in the finals. The team from Chile, Mobile Monitoring Station.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
It's okay?
And you need to just look at that.
Okay. Cool, that is, okay.
Yeah, all the best.
Thank you very much. Whenever you're, okay. Yep. Well, hi everyone. I'm Mauricio Contreras from Chile, representing the Mobile Monitoring Station team. Thank you for having us. Actually, it's great to be here. And we're doing wearable technologies to keep industrial workers safe and connected. Let us all remember the tragic accident that happened in 2010, where 33 miners were trapped underground for over 2 months in northern Chile. Every day, industrial workers face the most severe working conditions, and they also face very severe occupational diseases. Part of why we think this still happens to this day is that whereas machines are being monitored 24/7 to the very last volt, there is essentially an absolute lack of data of user-centric data regarding what the workers are facing on the field. Let me actually say that again. There's essentially no one that's measuring what's happening to the workers in the field in real time, as compared to the kind of monitoring that machines have in place. And let me quote Lord Kelvin here. If you cannot measure it, you can't improve it. So we are spearheading the collection and analysis of user-centric and real-time data to improve industrial safety. Now, we wanted to devise a platform that will allow a user to carry a host of mobile sensors and do this in a seamless manner. And the design we've come up with is a jacket that holds several sensors, not 9 we're considering in a first stage, and connects to a ruggedized smartphone, which in turn conveys this information to the cloud. And now safety managers can access this information and have in real time a sense of what's going on with every single worker in a site. And also through the data analytics that we provide, they can devise better security policies. Now we have very strong ties with the Center for Mathematical Modeling and the National Laboratory for High Performance Computing in Chile, two world-class data analytics institutions. So this side is very strong. And here we control the electronics of the jacket and the app of the smartphone, which actually takes hold of it at an operating system level. So you cannot use it for anything else that we are allowing you to use it when you're working. And we partner with people in the sensor space and also the fabric manufacturers here. We have already prototyped this and done some testing in the field. Actually, with our alpha prototype, we tested it in Codelco. Codelco is the largest copper producing company in the world. The main takeaway was that a jacket form factor was actually very, very interesting to keep on pursuing that avenue. And we're now in our beta prototype stage, and we can give you a demo of this if you connect with us afterwards. But as an interesting anecdote, perhaps, is that the original jacket prototype caused so many interest amongst the workers that they never really gave it back to us. These guys are very eager to go into the beta testing with us. Now, our business model is delivering this as a service. So for a monthly fee, you get access to all the hardware and all the software in the data analytics. You don't need to take care of the maintenance. It's on our end. The hardware is leased. So it's on our end to replace it when it needs to, and it also means there is no upfront cost. We are trying to hit a target price of $100 per user per month, which for us renders an interesting balance on a very lucrative commercial opportunity for us, and also yields a 10 times cost reduction for our industrial clients in safety and health expenditure. And we have a cash flow analysis that lets us run at $130 million by year 5, $130 million of revenue. Now, I want to point out that there's a win-win situation here. Our users win because they're safer. Our clients, the industrial companies, win because they reduce their insurance fees. And our partners win because they make much higher profit margin out of their own products when they partner with us or embedding our technology. And then in turn, we can leverage their what they already have in place, which is sales channel, which might be the single most pressing issue in this B2B scenario. Now, an important milestone for us now is creating a supplier and partner network, and this is especially important for us in the sensor space because we already have partners, for example, in the fabrics, in the industrial workwear, and also this is industrial workwear, Viking rubber, and Hermita winter sportswear from Chile, and protective gear manufacturers. So on the physical end, not regarding the sensors, we are doing very well, and we are talking to sensor manufacturers, but that's our key next step or next milestone. Upon gathering the most important sensors, we will execute a full-scale pilot, which is targeted for next year. Now, our initial customers are all top 10 mining companies that are available to us in Chile. We already have sold equipment in the past to Codelco, and we have access to all these companies and are talking to them actively. And also, after starting in our own country, think of expanding into other countries that are strong, like first world countries that are strong either in industry or mining, or both. So if I say we're in the business of collecting user data, we can all maybe perhaps envision miners wearing Fitbits, right? Yet I want to point out that there's 3 essential differences. The ruggedness the devices need to withstand is completely different. The reliability that the software platform needs to deliver is also completely different. And last, but most importantly, the set of other sensing that you need to do is not available in these consumer electronics platforms. So it's been very difficult for us to try and pinpoint a direct competition. There's rather intersections with other devices, wearable devices specifically, that are coming to the market. Yet the wearable revolution is kind of starting in the consumer electronics space, but not yet reached the industrials, which is what we're doing. Our team, our core team is comprised of Jorge Morales, our industrial designer and creative director, Eric Atenas, who is an electrical engineer, our CTO, who is back in Chile prototyping, hopefully as we speak, and myself, Mauricio Contreras, also electrical engineer and CEO. And we've added new team members that are doing business development, software, design, and manufacturing. Now, I want to tell you that this is not our first time doing innovation in the industrial safety space. We already have this respiratory mask in place. What happens usually is that this kind of respiratory protective masks don't let you talk. So when you are protecting yourself and you want to communicate, you end up removing it, defeating entirely the purpose of the mask. So we partner with the largest Chilean manufacturer of such protective gear called Masprot, and we have this model that is selling currently in Chile. Now sales have been spectacular. This is a patent pending device, and our first customers have also been Codelco, which, as I said, is the largest copper producing company in the world. Now, consider that this product that allows for this very simple and even trivial in the 21st century functionality of communicating is giving us traction, sales, and also already allowing us to improve the lives of people. So we're very excited as to the possibilities that handing and putting in place the first user-centric and real-time data collection system is going to allow us. And it's important to note that we are unlocking this information not only to the mining companies, but for the workers themselves, empowering them to take better care of themselves. So we're very excited to put this platform in place, and we hope to count with your support today. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Small time out here, guys.
Yeah, oh, there we go.
Let me just give some context.
So what I'm expecting, when you put that jacket on, we're going to get a real-time dashboard on the screen showing all of your, all of your data, right?
I can actually show you a better
Even
video,
better.
but yeah, I can read the information here in the smartphone, and I actually have this alert. It's not only visual. It's running now because there's low lighting here, and it's vibrating as well. Yeah, so I have several forms of interfacing with the jacket.
Okay, so how fast is your heart beating right now?
Oh, I'm not measuring, in this model, I'm not measuring vitals.
Oh, okay.
I appreciate the question. Thank you.
So could you talk a little bit more about what are the measures that are critical for different workers? And, I would imagine some workers, some measures are relevant and some aren't. And so it doesn't feel like it's a one-size-fits-all, but, tell us a little bit more about what you're measuring and why those measurements are critical and, how it varies across workers.
I understand. I actually completely agree that one-size-fits-all is not what we're doing, which is why we're not developing the sensors, but rather trying to get what's best out there and incorporating and trying to make it compatible with our system. We're using Android, Bluetooth, fairly standard things to try and be compatible with everyone. For example, a very terrible disease is silicosis. Lung disease, you get it out of breathing silica dust. It affects 40% of the miners worldwide. So in that industry, having particulate matter detection and vitals, for example, the oxygenation of the blood is very important. Other workers in furnaces, you need to have a measure of temperature, and you can do data analytics that will let you detect fatigue. Drivers usually show tiredness symptoms, and driving a $6 million truck and being really tired and almost falling asleep, it's quite unsafe. So those are 3 examples of that.
So how many people do you employ? How many people work in your company?
As of now? Yeah, we are, so some are interns, but I want to say 7.
So you do manufacturing, you handle your own transportation, you monitor everything, plus you do data mining, and you provide cell phones. So it's like enough for 4 businesses in one. How much money are you raising?
It's very capital intensive, and since we are raising the price level, but taking the responsibility of the maintenance of the devices, and we are aware that takes a very strong workforce. So we will have to grow very fast on that end. Yet the distributional sales we don't necessarily do. We close big deals, but we try and leverage our existing partners' sales channel. So for example, we do away with that.
But you said you do your own manufacturing.
We are talking to several manufacturers. We are now doing a manufacturing for the masks, for example, of the electronics, but it's a strategic decision, and we have enough control of the platform that we could outsource, and have been talking to several manufacturers about that.
I have a question on the form factor that you're choosing, which is the jacket. I'm assuming in a mine it's pretty hot. right? So, and most
You
of these
have
guys are
either
running, or
called extremes.
or it could be extremes, okay?
Yeah.
So, assuming that it's a hot mine, you know, would a belt be a better form factor to encourage people to wear it and use it? And the second one was a follow-up to the question you answered to Bill, which is, you mentioned some environmental things that they need to measure, the heat, pollution levels, and so on. And then there are vital statistics for each person that need to be measured to see how that person is reacting. So I'm presuming you're more focused on the latter, not the former, because I guess the former is already being somewhat monitored by devices that are installed at various places and so on.
I wouldn't take the last question first. And the reality that we see in a country that is, its highest income comes from mining, it's not really that this key parameters are being monitored, at least in a way that will let you do really good data analytics. And it's very important to have a measure of the exposure or the dose that each worker gets throughout their lifetime, because of sometimes, for example, silicosis, the life cycle of disease, you can go for 10 years and then get it. So it's really important to have a measure of the dose of that worker as opposed to what's happening at large, which is also important. Yeah. Could I have the first question again?
First question is the form factor. I mean, are you restricting
Yes,
yourself?
I understand. I think it's not quite, we're talking to more than one partner in the fabric space, and we're very open to other form factors. Yes, heat. For example, some of the companies are in sports, so it's kind of a longer term thing that we're trying to do to open up to the consumer space. We don't feel constrained by the form factor of a jacket itself. It's what the prototype that we have now and what we want to show you. But yes, we're very open.
One more question on the cost savings that you projected. Is it only from the insurance, or are there other areas in which the company saves costs as a result of the solution?
So the long term would be insurance, yet we have accident, compensation to the families for accident, like direct, expenditure that we are hoping to reduce by day 0 upon deployment of this platform. Yes.
A question to your business model. You mentioned that you were going to offer this with no upfront cost to the customers. Given the customers that you're talking about, big mining companies, why did you choose that model?
I didn't quite follow.
You said that you were going to offer your service with no upfront cost to the customer. So you were going to bankroll the cost of the hardware and software. Why did you choose that?
What we see in the mining industry, mainly in Latin America, but we think it's a worldwide trend, is that they very much appreciate services over shopping for products and getting them themselves. And it's been mainly through user research, sustaining a lot of conversation with the people doing the buying for these large companies, that it makes sense, I think, for us to do it with no upfront. It's kind of a telco model when they subsidize devices.
So what is the cost for the delivery of a standard jacket, I guess, so you're going to charge $100 a month as a service fee. How much are you out of pocket for that first month?
I want to say ballpark estimates, but under $1,000, a complete system will cost under $1,000, and the lease period we're calculating under very high tear and wear circumstances is 3 years. So then you have a sense of the profit, more or less.
How about industries beyond mining?
Absolutely.
Any target markets or?
Well, right by is oil, oil drilling and others. Yet we think the future, 5 years maybe term, the findings that we do here, we could extrapolate to the consumer electronics, such as sports, and winter sports could be a very big thing, and the like. And the market size is what drives this. And our costs are not very high, I would say. But even though we expect it to drive to be dramatically decreasing in the future, because the wearable revolution is kind of just in place, so there are not very many standard parts in the market and manufacturers. when that happens, I think we can break into the barrier of consumer electronics.
We're working on it.
About, have you considered licensing it, much like Gore-Tex or others have done?
Considered what?
Licensing your product so that you could have many people build it in and distribute it?
Yes, absolutely. For now, our experience is being that our talks with our potential customers, we kind of play a very important role to them in understanding, so they want us present in the delivery and the manufacturing the solution. And our current partners do not have interest in really taking over the technology itself, which is an essential condition for that to happen. But if that appears, then we're open to that as well, because we really need to take over the world with this. So yeah, partners.
Finding reluctance on part of these companies to deploy this technology? In a sense, they are better off not knowing a bunch of these things from a legal perspective.
That's a very good question. We think the insurance savings is enough of an argument. We will have to prove this though, but we think it's enough of an argument, savings, to have companies advance towards this. We have some products in the middle that do not consider, for example, this jacket has batteries, so you can power some of your devices that you already use. That doesn't consider monitoring, so we're kind of trying to educate the clients as well. We think also the pressure from the users themselves in order to be safe against such terrible diseases that they face is going to be very strong. And also on privacy, perhaps, we think of anonymizing the data that's taken so that decreases the pressure on some potential legal issues that they may have with their users.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.